But, Dr. Cortex, we haven't determined the cause of past failures.
Moron! This Bandicoot will be my general, and he will lead my Cortex commandos to world domination. This time, I shall reign triumphant. We are closer than ever before. Quickly, into the vortex.
Dr. Cortex, the vortex is not ready. We have no idea what it could do.
Failure again. Capture him!
Uh-oh.
Alright gamers, geeks, and other delinquents from the outer realms, it's time for the Gamers in Beta podcast with Captain Mike M.
That is a travesty of the highest order I've ever fucking seen one.
Featuring assorted co-hosts, J Maniac 17.
What the fuck was that all about?
Corey Atwood.
It's not my fault you guys all have shitty taste.
Sean Quicksilver 3355.
Well, maybe you should look it up.
And Joe State.
That game sucks, dude.
Gentlemen, we are currently on the road to 395 to go. We'll be there before you.
Yes, we're getting there.
That's a long road, man.
Come on.
No, before we get there, somebody's going to die of dysentery. You know what's going to happen.
Well, I hope not. Lose a wagon wheel or something, you never know.
Right.
But, speaking of being on the road, we went on the road this weekend with my granddaughter, my wife, and I met up with some family, and we went down to York's Wild Animal Kingdom in Maine. Which is, yeah, there was some shit, monkey shit, deer shit, because this is a zoo, and on one side and the other side they have the rides and stuff like that. So we went in there, and I'm looking around, and we had a good time with the kids, because I also had, my niece's son and her husband went. She was unable to make it because she's working. But this is all the boring stuff. The good stuff you want to hear is that we went out with the kids. They enjoyed it. It's kind of interesting to see all these animals you don't normally see around where you're at. They had some deer running around that you could walk right up to and pet, and ostriches, and what was the ones that was it Fallout? Not Fallout. Far Cry. The cassowaries. You had to collect like 4 of them to make a bag. They had those things there, and I'm like, oh, shoot! How many do I need to get a bag?
Did you make a bag? That's my next question.
No, they're behind the fence. They wouldn't let me bring my weapons. So we were with the kids. I didn't want to create a disturbance.
Yeah.
So.
Kids are pussies when it comes to skinning animals,
Yeah, I know, yeah. So we didn't do that, but I'm running around going, there's the ostrich, I need some of that. There's the cassowaries, which are a really odd-looking bird because they have that horn on their head. And but one of the more interesting ones, there was some monkeys in there, and I'm over there with the kids, and we're all kind of sitting there waiting, and there's a male and a female in there, and the male got going around, and I believe I sent you guys a picture, and I'll have to post it on Twitter also, so that the listeners can look through my timeline and find it. But there was a monkey that had blue balls in a red ass. And it wasn't like the typical one like you see with the baboons. I mean, when you're looking at him from the front, he looks like a regular monkey, except he's got these blue balls that are hanging out. Well, we're sitting there, and we got talking about it, and we're joking about that. And then all of a sudden, he runs down below to go see the female. And with the actions that he was doing, I don't understand why he had blue balls.
They were bruised. It was in such a fervor that they got bruised.
Yeah, that may have been it. But so the rest of the adults we're all laughing. My granddaughter's like, "What? What's so funny? Nothing. They're just playing." So that was my long-winded description of our visit to the zoo in what I thought was relatively entertaining. So,
and some hot monkey action. That's like Cinemax level action right there. You're usually going to pay for that.
Yeah. It wasn't too much, so yeah, Cinemax was Showtime, a little late night action. Yeah.
So it begs the question: did you feel inspired after that? Was there like, hey, I saw some of this, and now I want some of that? Was there a little like,
did you go home and
monkey see, monkey do?
Right. Did you go home and pull the pork, or?
No, I went home and got blue balls. It was a long, hot day. Everybody was tired. So, yeah, that's my life.
Segue into a blue balls thing here a little bit. Do you guys ever remember, like, when you were young and you were talking to a girl and she might have said something to you just very casually and you took it way out of context? Oh, she's really interested in me. She said this, and oh, yeah, she's totally got to be down for me now because she said that. Well, I had one of those moments at work the other day, and of course, there's no way I'm taking any action upon this, but at work, we have this mechanism when people need to get their funds. We don't wait till the following day. We call forced the withdrawal, essentially. So the colleague that I was working with said, please force the withdrawal, but in parentheses, she said, use the. So please use the force to withdraw the funds. And so, clever guy that I am, I had to retort, wrote back like sort of like Yoda, right? Yeah. No.
You are a fucking smooth one.
I am. Yes. Force the withdrawal. We did, and so she didn't write back, but her colleague wrote back. Her colleague took a screenshot of this, and she's like, "I just want to let you know, this was awesome. We've all had a great laugh at this. What a great sense of humor." Because, it's two different companies. It's not like people that I work with, like, in the same, meetings and things like that. So it's people I really don't know. And so then she kept talking to me, like, on our Slack channel. I was like, yeah, if I was 18 or 19, probably would have got fired for, carrying on too long. But I figured, at 41, I just stopped conversation at some point. It was just like, hopefully she goes back to work and had a good laugh.
You're a fucking comedic rock star. She's like, well, I got this podcast, actually. You should fucking hear me. It's amazing.
Well, I tell you, Corey,
Mesa balls.
They are the other company that I work with has all, like, pet names for their groups, and they all have. So, for instance, if they were Star Wars, some people in the group would be stormtroopers and things like that. The hierarchy. So we have copied this company, and now my team is like, Dragon Ball Z or something like that. And she's like, oh, this is the greatest. Oh, do you have any names? I'm like, I work remote. I really don't know these people. I don't know if they have pet names, but see, my dogs don't even like that either.
Even your dog is calling you a...
Yes. So with that, let's start episode 205. This is Captain Mike, Gamers in Beta, on the road to 300. Joined tonight, as always, Jay, Maniac17.
Jay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And Corey Catwood. How we doing, Corey?
Can't complain.
And let's see, Joe is still sick. We announced last week that he was flying home from Chicago to back to Oregon, and he is still under the weather. He regrets that he can't be here. He seemed a little upset about it. And Sean is on his way to Vermont, so he can't be here as well. So a three-man show, which we haven't done in a while.
Yeah, it has been a little while, I think. At least since I've been on a three-man. I've missed a couple in the last month or so.
So a rather light show on content, but plenty of listener feedback and things of that nature. So it should be a fun episode, but let's knock out some important stuff right away. Jay, man on the streets, the Xbox reporter. You were out today, shaking hands and kissing babies with all the Xbox fans. And what is the latest on the Xbox One X? Can we pre-order it yet, Jay?
Well, first on the shaking hands and stuff, I skipped all that shit because motherfuckers won't let you order it because they're still having FCC issues. So I went on the four-wheeler instead. But I do have some information.
Yes, bring it.
Yeah, you can't order it.
Thorough. It's a thorough analysis.
It has not changed, and they still have not given us a date. But we have mentioned in the past that this is the first time we can think of that this happened. But I did find a recent update that was at the Express from the UK website from the UK had mentioned they got the info in there that the PlayStation 4 had a similar situation. They announced in February, and we had to wait till July to be able to put money down on one. So this is not the first time that this has happened. They're taking equal share here, and the PlayStation 4 had a similar issue, and I never even really realized it.
Well, I guess the difference there would be, right, is they announced it in February, but they didn't show it until that thing in New York City, right? And then you could pre-order it then, I believe. Right? That thing in New York City wasn't in February, I don't believe. We'll have to go back and check.
Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, I don't think it was exactly the same situation, because this one, I mean, yeah, they show the machine. They're like, you can pre-order it. And you go to all the websites and it's like, this page held until you can pre-order or sign up.
How many sites are you guys signed up for to get notices? Corey, I bet 0?
Oh, yes, absolutely 0.
I'm
Jay,
on 2.
You're on 2. What would that be?
Amazon, Walmart. And I think that's it. I didn't do Best Buy. I probably should.
So here, let me just tell you, the PlayStation Pro reveal was September 7th in New York City, and I think you could pre-order shortly after that. So that's the only difference, right? The Xbox thing was at E3,
right?
Yeah, and you can't pre-order that reveal. But anyways, I'm sure they'll let us know when it's ready. Just wanted to check in with you, Jay.
Yeah.
I needed to be updated myself. Gentlemen, stop me if you've heard this before, but a game is about to take a 10-year journey.
Wait. Are we talking about
your destiny?
No?
Yes.
Any chance? Oh, okay.
It is your destiny. Interestingly enough, Patrick Soderlund from EA, he's the vice president, said Anthem is a social game where you and your friends go out on quests and journeys. That's a new one. And it's a game that we've been working on for almost 4 years now. And it's a game that once we launch it next year will be the start of maybe a 10-year journey for us.
That's a big maybe.
Yes. So, Jay...
that's a bullshit.
So I want to throw it to Joe and Jay, but unfortunately Joe is not here. But you two guys, I think, were singing the praises of Anthem the most. Corey, that wasn't, you might have mentioned it, but I don't think it was something you were super jazzed on, were you?
No, I mean, it looks really cool. I like the suits. I like the flight. But I said pretty much what everybody else said. It just looks like what they intended Destiny to be. And even so, it does not have my attention. But I just want to draw attention to the fact that it says will be the start of a maybe 10-year journey for us. That could infer a franchise we're starting. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that would be more accurate, I believe, than this game's going to be 10 years. It's your destiny. Oh, wait, sorry, that was that other game. Sorry, it's only been, 3?
I wanted to call it out because Jay was, I think it was your most anticipated, alongside, I believe, Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus.
Garnered more information, but I still want to see more. There's not enough. Wolfenstein is a definite buy for me as soon as I can pre-order it, unlike the Xbox One X.
I was listening to, I think it was Kind of Funny this week, and Greg Miller said he would I forget what the bet was or what he would do, but he said there's no way in hell this game comes out in 2018. He said right now they're telling you it comes out in fall 2018. He definitely thinks it's going to slip to 2019.
Now, who's making this? And what have they done previously? So it's BioWare, but is it?
They did Mass Effect 3 was the last thing they did.
So it's the same team that did Mass Effect?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't BioWare have two
Mass
different
Effect
teams?
3. Yeah, this is BioWare, I believe, Edmonton that's working on this.
Okay. Yeah.
And the last thing they did, so they started working on this at the end of Mass Effect 3. So that's where the 4 years comes in.
Then I'm going to agree that it will take longer, and maybe even longer than that. After seeing Mass Effect 3.
I guess the only reason I have it in the news and to start off with, it just seems like for a game that is so closely aligned, just at first blush, to Destiny, and it also, you dig deeper, it's got the, tinges of Titanfall, and I forget what Joe said in our Twitter chat. Did he say Haze? Was that the game he was referencing?
Yeah, he did mention Haze. I don't know if he was just talking about the like if he was talking about the gameplay or just the suits that they wore. I'm not sure what he meant as a reference to Haze, though.
It just seems a little tone deaf that if the game already has so many comparisons right out of the chute, and then say, oh yeah, it's going to be a 10-year journey. It's just like maybe, I don't know, for fuck's sake, maybe like 7-year journey so people still couldn't say you're a Destiny clone. Just change it up just a little bit. But maybe that's just me being nitpicky. I don't know. I think
a lot of people are comparing it to Destiny in a way, and I think it's going to stand on its own just because seems to be a lot of different things. I could be wrong. They could come out and copy a lot of Destiny things, but I think that's, a lot of people want what Destiny has and what Activision has been doing, something that's going to garner a very large audience, bring people in, have microtransactions, and be able to, be a 10-year cycle or 10-year journey, as they say. Because, if you can have something that lasts that long, it keeps pulling people in, that's kind of what they're going for now. It's kind of like what they've got with the arena shooters. How many of those came out? And everybody's like, oh my God, everybody's so excited about these. We're going to make a bunch of them. We may see some more. So.
Yeah, I echo exactly what Jay said. I mean, people want those Destiny dollars, man. They're out there, and Destiny's been out for so long. It's been out long enough for people to, acknowledge that they like it, play it for a long period of time, and say what they don't like about it. So Anthem has that in their corner. They can copy Destiny to a point and change what they need to change. As far same deal with like Conan and Ark. They're pretty much copying almost all the things that they're doing, but they're not falling in the same pitfalls that the game before it is falling in. So, I mean, there's a lot of money there, and just like arena shooters, I think Destiny is kind of its own kind of genre now as far as console games go. Like, people are going to make Destiny games probably for at least the next 10 years or so.
Or until it burns out.
Let me ask you a hard-hitting question here. Let's talk Witcher 3 for 1 second. Yes, everybody take a drink.
Oh man. Oh, okay, I got to play it.
Felt like I'd been rammed in the ass by a horse.
Go ahead.
Would you say, you just talked about chasing the Destiny dollars and the arena shooter dollars, would you say right now we are sitting with games in 2017 such as Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn because of The Witcher 3?
I don't know if I'd say it's because of The Witcher 3. I mean, there were action RPGs before Witcher 3, and there's been a lot of action RPGs after. I don't know if I would say that Witcher 3 was popular enough to launch an entire wave of copycats. I don't know. What about you, Jay? Well, I could probably imagine what you're going to say.
I to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's just the evolution of that type of gameplay. It's just the evolution of gaming. I mean, previous to that, we had Skyrim, Fallout 4, which were the darlings. And then when The Witcher came out, people were like, oh, they've just taken a genre and just nailed it. And they had the time. They took the time and put the right manpower to it to come out and be, an exceptional game. I think Horizon Zero Dawn was the same. It's just they took their time and got things polished, but didn't wait too long to over-polish and got it out and put out an exceptional game. I think, but it's just, they've got more power with the newer machines and whatnot to be able to put out these games and add a little more and do it. And I think now Fallout, Bethesda needs to catch up with that now. I think you will see more, but that's just a move on. I think, with Anthem, it's more of a copy, so...
If anything that inspired the action RPG genre, I would say Skyrim. I mean, that game's been around for 6 years now. This November it'll be 6 years, and it's coming out again. Yeah, there's still an upcoming Skyrim. Going. So I would say that had more of an impact than The Witcher did.
Yeah.
Now, does everybody remember when they turned 21? Does anybody have vivid memories of that?
Not that evening. But yes, I do.
Right.
Leading up to it, and maybe the day after. Yeah. Well, on the 23rd of June this month, just a few days ago, the N64 turned 21.
Yes, we will be able to finally go out and have a beer with the with the N64.
And my memories of it are about as good as my memory of my 21st birthday evening. They're fond memories that I don't remember.
I do one of the most impact. I mean, that was a super impactful console. I never had it at the time, so I've only played it in retrospect. But one of the most influential games on that console that like we have to talk about is GoldenEye. Like everybody played GoldenEye. It was really the first, multiplayer FPS. And I don't remember. Do you either of you guys play that game a lot or no?
No.
I didn't play it. I was in school, or I should say in Job Corps. And so I was out and I did not have one, but I remember coming back and visiting some friends, and at his parents' place, they had no water or power. So they would be playing, and they lived in a camper out back of the parents' house. And they had a generator so that they could power the television and the N64 and play that game.
That game was like it proved that first-person shooters could A, happen on consoles, and B, 4 people could do it, because it was, I mean, that was the first system that was like you didn't need to buy any sort of like special adapter to play 4 people on it. They just had the 4 ports right in the front. So
just had to have a controller.
Right. All you had to do is have a controller. So that was like the perfect college or high school game too. People would just come over and play. And I found, I don't know what I was looking for, but I did find this little gem on YouTube. This is all the like death grunts in GoldenEye all strung together. So I hope I brought back some.
That sounds about me at like 12:30 tonight.
Are you going to be pulling the pork later or no?
No, someone else is going to be helping that.
Oh, gross.
Last about as long too, right?
But God,
but we digress.
Aside from GoldenEye, though, I mean, the only I shouldn't say only other, one of the most impactful games on that system, I would probably name as Mario 64. I don't know. Would you say there's any more impactful games on that system aside from like more impactful than Mario 64? Because
wasn't there a Mario Kart?
Yeah, there was Mario Kart 64.
Yeah, that's the only other game I can remember playing. My sister had one. It was long after the console had come out, but they had that, and I'd go over there and visit them because I didn't really know that side. I didn't know my half sister and half brother until much later, and I think she was like 16, and I'd go over there and we would play that. Her and my brother would play that. So that's a fond memory because that's when I first got to kind of know my half brother and half sister.
You got some sad music to play, Corey. Yeah.
I know. I always got the sappy shit. I'm sorry.
No, got no sympathy over here.
Just listen.
No shit.
The only sad thing about the N64, sadder even still than Jay's story, is the fact that everything on that console aged so poorly, like visual wise, because it was really like Nintendo. It was that age when everything was just starting to be polygons. Like everybody was jumping ship as far as sprites go. So like everything was a polygon. Everything was like sharp as shit. Like, do you guys remember the like sharp like Lara Croft tits that could like pop a balloon? They were just like those triangles. It's still sexy to like 13-year-old me, but yeah, very, very ugly time for video games, unfortunately.
Now, was the N64 the one that had the Wavebird?
Wavebird?
Yeah, that was the name of the controller. Wavebird controller. Look that up.
Oh, like the three prong controller? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and it had like the stick in the middle.
Oh, I've just never heard it called the Wavebird, but yeah, I mean, God, that's one of the ugliest controllers in the history of fucking controllers. Oh, you know what? Are you thinking about I think you might be thinking about the GameCube controller.
It was the GameCube. Yeah, I just looked it up. It was the GameCube. So
the N64 one had the 3 prongs that you would be expected to like move your hands to different sections of the game of the controller based on what game you were playing.
Yeah.
Like if you were playing like GoldenEye, I'd be using the joystick. Your hand would be on the 2 right sides of it. Oh, it was such an ugly, clumsy controller.
Now, if one ought to go out and pick up an N64, where are they on the price? Levels? Is it considered?
Oh, they're all over the place.
Is it considered an expensive thing to go out and sort of acquire those, or is it relatively inexpensive?
No, I don't think they're too expensive because they're not rare. Usually expensive is like determined by how rare it is, and it's not a really rare console. A lot of people bought them. So you could get like a one in like excellent condition with probably a couple of games and 2 controllers for, I would guess, under $175, probably between 120 and 150. And that's in like super excellent condition. If you wanted to find one, if you wanted to just buy the controller or just buy something that wasn't in great shape, you could probably get one for under $100, I bet.
Oh, yeah, you can get them for, I'm looking now, 35, 50, 57. So
Gotcha.
they're not too terrible. They even have them at Bull Moose around here. So, and yeah, the controller was, I think of it as the Wavebird because that's kind of what the Wavebird got designed after. But instead of having that spike in the middle, which was just so weird with the stick in it, it was more the modern day where they went to the dual stick things with the Wavebird. So.
And those sticks could like break off so easily. Like if you're playing an intense game of GoldenEye or Mario Party, you could break that stick off in a second, and then you just had like this bloody spike sticking out with no gamepad on it. So those controllers, the controllers are probably harder to find than the consoles. I think the individual controllers because those things would break so easily.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on now. Let's start getting into some of the listener participation in the question of the week. But first, let's hear from Hall of Famer Roddy Piper.
They think they got the answers. I changed the questions.
All right, now last week's question of the week was what OG Xbox game, because we can't call it an Xbox One, what OG Xbox game would you like to see come to backwards compatibility? We're not talking about like a remaster or an HD remake or something. Just have the old disc, be able to throw it in your Xbox One and still play it. So we got a lot of responses. And sorry, go ahead.
I said because we are an inclusive podcast for everybody, all walks of life, we also allowed PS2 and GameCube. So anything from that era.
Right. And
some people might not have had an OG Xbox.
Right. I mean, and back then we were all a lot younger. Probably more of us were single console people at the time. I mean, I only had a PS2 for the longest time. And when I did get an Xbox, I actually had to trade in my PS2 to get an OG Xbox. So it was a while before I had more than one console. When did you guys become like a more than one console, competing console like household?
Late into the Xbox, the OG Xbox cycle, I got a PS2. And I mentioned it before on the show, had that for a while, then all of a sudden it just up and died one day, and I never bothered to replace it. I just sold it. I just brought the dead one into a GameStop and sold all my PS2 stuff, and never replaced it, so I went back to just the OG Xbox for a while, and then OG Xbox, then 360, then PS3.
I think the first generation that I owned both of the current generations were PS3 and 360. I think that was the first time I don't know, climbed that mountain, I would say.
Yeah, I was, for me, it was, I never really had the Nintendo stuff. I had a Sega Genesis, and then I moved into, and I didn't get that until it'd been out for a while. And then I did the same thing with the next console. When I had 2 consoles in the house, it was a Sega and a PlayStation 1.
Oh yeah, I would definitely not consider those same gen.
No, but that was probably the first set of consoles that I had. Both, and then really not until the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One that I had both in the house.
Oh, you never had a PS3?
No, I never owned a PS3. I guess before that I had an OG Xbox and we had a GameCube.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, before we get this started, I want to mention that just to reminisce, to bring people back, I did download the original startup noises. So I'm gonna start with Derp 2309S, and his answer is for the PS2. So I have to play this. Tell me if this brings back anything for you guys. Remember that weird, dreamy, like startup with like the squares that they would zoom into when you'd load up your game? Mm-hmm. Is this just doing anything for anybody?
Vaguely. Nope. I remember my condo in Malden now that had mice.
Glad I can bring back a pleasant memory.
Thank you.
All right. So Derp 2309S, he says, I would love to see the original SOCOM for PS2.
Tango down.
The amount of options as to where and when your guys would move or attack was amazing, and no game has even come close to it. That was one of the first shooters I ever actually played online, because I was one of those people who bought the PS2 modem that you would like open up the back of your PS2 and like screw the modem onto the back. Either of you guys ever play with that?
Yes, I had that, yep.
There were not very many PS2 games that I would work with. It was like Tony Hawk and SOCOM, I think, were the only games that I had.
The reason I had it because the ESPN football game that came out, Brady was on the cover of that one. You
That's
got a little
right.
Brady
that's right.
statue with it too.
How long have you been collecting statues? Holy shit!
I don't know where that one went. I think my wife might have took that to work and then it broke.
Oh,
I'm gonna get up. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna get up a minute and close the window. It's starting to rain here. Keep going.
All right. So the next one is Ghost Grifter. He says Mech Warrior or Mech Assault, and other replies below, one of the two. To see if you can soft mod the emulator and install Xbox Media Center. Plus, it's the only OG Xbox game that I still own. So that's how you would install Xbox.
Yeah,
Media
it was
Center.
Mech Assault. I don't think Mech Warrior was ever on the Xbox.
No, but that was like the originator of the series was Mech Warrior, I believe. 1 and 2
Right,
for
but it was
PC.
on PC. That was PC, yeah, because I played the hell out of that right up until 3 when Microsoft got their hands into it and kind of turned it on its head. But Mech Assault I absolutely loved, and I still have the game sitting here.
Yeah, I remember the Mech Warrior covers for PC back in like when I would read like EGM as a kid, and I did not have a PC that could even like come close to running that. But being so jealous of those games because they look so badass, and I did not have any way to play them. All right, the next question is Shonuff71, and he is mentioning GameCube, so I have to play this for him. Does that bring anybody back? You had a GameCube, you said, right?
Yes.
Oh, that was the coolest startup, I think. I like that best out of the three, I think.
Yeah, that's the only one I ever had. The only game I played on that was the Umbrella Co-op there, Resident Evil.
Oh, the shooter? Like the first-person shooter one?
No, it was, I think, what was on GameCube? It was it 3 or 4?
They had that Resident Evil, like, remake. It was like the HD remake.
Yeah, but it played really good. I mean, it was probably the most popular one that was on GameCube. So,
oh, I loved it. That was the game.
We're off the rails here.
We are. I'm sorry. All right, show enough. He says, tough question. Almost like asking which one of my kids I love the most, if I had any. All right, here goes. Xbox, Mech Assault, or Atogi, Myth of Demons.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
PS2, God Hand or Maximo. Yes, Maximo ruled. And GameCube, Eternal Darkness. That's a series I've been waiting for Nintendo to like bring back, is Eternal Darkness. There's like a cult following for that game.
Yeah, I never played it.
All right, he also mentioned some Xbox games, so I got to play that startup noise.
I have 2 of them sitting right here.
Remember that weird little like lightning ball that would happen? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and next is Maverick 25. Xbox, I want to see black. PS2 is a harder choice. So many great games. Yeah, that is a really big PS2 library. Did anybody else play Black, that first-person shooter?
No, but I think someone else mentions that in this as well, but I don't remember it at all.
It was a popular one, but I never really heard of it until afterwards. I mean, people reminisce about how good a game it was.
Yeah, I remember a buddy of mine bought it and played it, and I snubbed it because it didn't really – I don't think it had a multiplayer, and I was like, why would I buy a shooter without a multiplayer, like some sort of cocky asshole? So I regret never having played it. All right, the next one is Mafia Thug. Answer the question of the week. Well, as a quote-unquote normal – as this would sound coming from me, I'm going to have to say Rainbow Six. Wow, shocker, Mafia. Mm-hmm. Lockdown. Rainbow Six Lockdown on the PS2. That game began my gaming hobby, along with spending hours upon hours in it and buying a PC just to learn how to build a website for our clan. Wow, that's fucking dedication. On top of that, that game has had the best ever in-game clan support and battle and ranking system. That I've ever seen. You'd think that the newer hardware and shit that games like Battlefield and Rainbow Six and even COD would have all that stuff streamlined and built in. The systems these days, maybe there's no money in it. So it does suck when people are really into clans and there's not much clan support. I think Halo 2 had some clan support, but it was very, very limited.
Isn't Destiny 2 going to have clan support? Isn't that their big thing?
Yeah, they did talk about it, didn't they? In the at E3. So maybe even Anthem will have clan support. Who knows?
In 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years from now. Dr. John. Now, I'm guessing all these little things were these emoticons because it says Mech Assault grinning, Mech Assault grinning, Mech Assault. There's a lot of Mech Assaults and grinnings. Mech Assault 2, Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. Does anybody know about that one?
Yes, that was a good game.
He said, which also needs a fucking sequel. So he totally agrees with you.
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
I forgot about that.
What was it? Describe it to me. Was it a shooter?
I remember having it and playing it and enjoying it, but I think it was kind of platform type deal. It really does need. It's kind of like the Conquer kind of deal, I believe.
Okay. He also mentions Call of Duty 3 because fuck it. The only other OG Xbone games that I have are Halo and Halo 2, and those have already been done. Some shitty surfing and motorbike racing game that I could care less about, and Dead to Rights. Fuck that game. Dead to Rights, that was the game where you were like the cop with the dog, right?
Yes, yep, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't play that one yet.
It was bad. So I agree with him. Fuck that game.
So Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy is a third-person action-adventure game.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cartoony.
Yes, it looks cartoony, yep.
Yeah.
Inspired by ancient Egypt, so Egypt games are coming back.
Which makes sense with that title, that's what I would have imagined.
Yes. And to move on here, we have Devious Mr. Matt and surprise, EA MVP Baseball and Burnout Takedown, which I love me some Burnouts. Revenge was my favorite, but Takedown is a good one. So.
That's a good memory, the MVP Baseball. I used to play sports games, and I'm surprised I'm not dead, but I would have a treadmill in my condo, and I would running would be in quotations here. It'd be a brisk walk and playing video games.
I've always wondered,
surprised I didn't die.
I've been wanting to try that here because I'm trying to get back in shape, and I'm just curious to see if there would be any accidents.
Well, the only thing that would happen is I would kick the treadmill that I had back in, what was this, early 2000s? Had like the big plastic casing in the front, to cover the motor or whatever. And that would be the only thing. Occasionally I would give that a good kick.
Now, could you only play certain games while doing it? Like, did other games require more concentration?
I could play most sports games. I mean, I wasn't playing action adventure games back then, so I wouldn't be able to give you that. But I would say sports games for me were pretty easy. I used to play. I went out and purchased a Dreamcast at one point, and I would play all the old sports games on there on the treadmill. I had no issues.
I've always wondered about that. Like, oh man, if I could just exercise while playing games, I could get in shape so easy. But doing that, I would be so worried about just getting really into the game and just taking a digger right on my face, if I was doing anything intense. So,
well, here's my latest plan for the winter. Is I just went out and bought a Trek bike, and so using that right now, of course, in the summertime, whatever. But once it gets to be the winter, want to get what they call it, a trainer or something like that, so you can just ride your bike in the house, but you don't go anywhere.
Oh yeah, lifts the bike up, the front wheel up off the ground.
Yeah, I have one.
So I want to see if I can do that and play video games.
Oh man, you gotta live stream that with a camera on you at the same time, just in case you go down. I want to see that.
Yeah. And to move on to our next one, we have Skyfox. Not sure if you ever played Fusion Frenzy, but I'm a huge fan of minigame multiplayers. That game was so much fun, and now that I'm older, I would make that my go-to drinking game instead of drunk driving Mario Kart 64. LOL. Yeah, we used to play a lot of Fusion Frenzy, me and my son.
Oh man.
Fusion Frenzy!
I used that game, a demo of that game, which included 3 or 4 of the mini games, was on the Halo 1 disc. Yep. And I never bought the full game, but I played that demo a shit shitload. It was so much fun.
You know, now that you mentioned it, I think that's what we played was the demo, because I actually had a demo disc that had a demo of Halo. It had a demo of Fusion Frenzy. I think it had Arcade Pac-Man on it and a couple others. I still have the disc. So I think that may be what we played. But yeah, we played the hell out of that.
The only thing I remember about Fusion Frenzy was always in the cutout bin for like $2.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Because I believe it was a pack-in at one point in time, so there was tons of them out there.
It was definitely one of the launch titles, and in like that game that's on the cover of Fusion Frenzy, that you would see like just behind that $2 sticker is essentially like if you guys ever watched American Gladiators, it was Atlas Ball. Like people are in those giant balls,
right.
Yep. And you'd be on a platform with all the other players, and you would have to like charge at them to knock them off the platform, and the platform would slowly like get smaller and smaller as the game progressed until there was enough room just for one person. And that was the game that we played constantly. And he mentions that this would be his drinking game. I just want to tell you, Skyfox, it's an excellent game to play while drinking because I remember I was living in an apartment with like 2 other guys during the summer in between years of college, and we were going to go out drinking that night, and we were just like pre-gaming before we left. We were like, oh, let's just play Fusion Frenzy. We may have imbibed a certain amount of alcohol before we left. We ended up not even going out. We just played Fusion Frenzy the entire night and just got obliterated. And it was completely worth it. I do not regret it at all.
And not much has changed.
Nothing at all. My surroundings. I'm now in a better house. But yeah.
And to move on from last one was Mario Kart 64. We're moving into, we had mentioned earlier about the 64. Jay Fresh is saying that he wants Conker's Bad Fur Day. This is the most entertaining game ever. Yes, but for the Xbox, it was a remake of the N64 version, which was a big game for that.
Which actually, the N64 version was the one that was not censored. When they remade it for the OG Xbox, it was like heavily censored, which was bizarre that Nintendo would have the quote unquote dirtier version of the game.
The original Xbox, when they came out at around that time when they released that, they were trying to be family friendly to try and get a bigger audience, I think. So that may be why. Because like funny, that's weird. Nintendo didn't, but Xbox did.
Well, Nintendo was doing the exact opposite move. Like Conker, the character, was in like a game. He's a rare character, and he was actually in, I think it was Diddy Kong Racing before Conker's Bad Fur Day, and he had his own game. It was like Conker's Quest or something like that. And he was a family-friendly character. Like he was super cliche Nintendo character. And before his own game released, it was like Tails. I don't remember what it was going to be called, but it was going to be released as a kid-friendly game. That was the plan, and they decided, not last minute because it wasn't well into development, but they decided they wanted to take a different angle with Conker. They were like, we need to capture that audience that's going off to play Xbox games and PS2. So that's why our Conker Bad Fur Day was so adult oriented. They completely changed the character who was never intended to be like that.
But I agree with him. I would love to see that remade, not updated, just so graphics. I'd like to see them basically take that game but modernize it with some better controls, with modern day controls and shooting and whatnot. Because it was funny as hell. You get the little swear words above him. The XO question mark that exclamation whatever. So. Yeah, that would be great.
There was a lot of good clips to pull from that game, but I had to pull this one.
I am the great mighty Pooh, and I'm going to throw my shit at you.
That boss who was literally just a giant pile of shit that you had to fight.
Yeah, that was a good one. So, Mike, did you ever play that?
No, I did not. I was, as I've said numerous times, was not playing those types of games back then.
Yeah. All right. Jason at JRuble on Twitter. Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. Bravo, man. Those were excellent games.
I think you can play at least the first one on iOS now.
Yeah, and I think they may be on the PC too. I think you might be able to play them on PC. I'm not sure. But I think you're right. My son was telling me that he had downloaded them. We were just talking, and it's amazing what you can play on your phone now, and he has that on his phone. So
yeah, I have no idea how it plays or how much room it takes up on your phone. But yeah, I mean, if you're really dying to play it, you could play it on your iPhone.
Yeah, virtual sticks suck though.
Yeah.
Moving on to Holy Goalie at Gamer Goalie. Wolfenstein Tides of War. Never played that. Midtown Madness 3.
Yeah, that was a good game.
I don't remember playing that one.
It's like a racing, like, almost a open world, like, racing game, like, but not racing, like, you were, like, you could drive, like, Mini Coopers and stuff, like, in it,
Yeah. And then Mercenaries, which I have here on disc. Splinter Cell, which I have here on disc. And Ghost Recon, which, you guessed it, I have here on disc. Jay, a.k.a. Meef J, from Everyday Gamers. Conquer, L and R. What was that one?
Live and Reloaded.
Okay, yeah. There's that. SSX Tricky, which was the first snowboarding game that I can remember playing, which was good.
Yeah, it's a shame that series is like gone now, because that was one of the more fun games out of the crazy. I remember, God, during that era, snowboarding games were like huge in like PS1, PS2 eras. Like SSX Tricky was one of the better ones I remember.
Yeah. And Ninja Gaiden Black, which would have you pulling your hair out. This was one of the first controller chuckers. And DJ Hero 1 and 2. Next we have Freddy Fruto Krueger, Knights of the Old Republic, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And he did put it down as KOTOR, so, which most people knew it as. I don't think I played either one of those. So we have a mention of Black again from Whiskey Tango Foxtrot at J O'Malley 6291981.
Good job, you got them all.
I did. Sean D. Evans, Xantane from the OMG. Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. Another showing for those because those were really good games.
Yeah, we should have expected to get a lot of KOTOR responses.
No,
yeah.
I just want to go back to Meef J. What's up, brother? DJ Hero 1 and 2, those are 360 games, aren't they?
I thought so.
Yeah, I thought the DJ Hero series was on the 360, but I wasn't positive.
Yeah. All right.
But we'll let it slide.
Yes, we will.
He may have been on pain meds.
Yeah. All right. My turn, Jay. Are you done?
I'm done.
All right. Let's see. Holy Headshot Everyday Gamers says, loved Area 51 FPS. David Duchovny voiced. Mortal Kombat Alliance / Deception. PSI-OPS and the Punisher game. And he says, my kids love Republic Commando.
Mike, that's not PSI. That's PsyOps. One of the greatest games ever made. Ever. Not just for the original Xbox, but ever.
You see that? That's why I have you here to correct me, Jay. I appreciate that.
And that was PsyOps, the Mindgate conspiracy. Just that was the full name.
Jeez, look at him, man! Holy shit, he's in the pocket of big PsyOps.
I told you he was out there today with the kids. Babies, Xbox man on the streets.
I want to compliment Holy Headshot on his mention of the Punisher game. That was pretty much the only good Punisher game ever made. It was based kind of on the Dylan series at the time. That's where all the artwork is from, and that's where a lot of the storylines are taken from. It was essentially like a ripoff of Max Payne. It was very much like a Max Payne ripoff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which was pretty good for that's what you want the Punisher to be, except like instead of the slow-mo, they called it like rage mode or something, where you would hear like your dead family like screaming in the background as they died. It was pretty fucked up. Like they went that extra mile to make the character seem really twisted, and you could dual wield everything. Every single gun you picked up, like, double barrel shotguns, like everything. It was a lot of fun. That's probably the only OG Xbox game I actually have right now, and I kept it just because I'm a big Punisher nerd. That's over there on my wall right now.
And I'll give him a shout out too, because he also has my second favorite, which is Republic Commando.
Good taste, Holy Headshot.
Good taste.
All right, everybody's buddy D. Rogers 1991 is next. Buffy and Jet Set.
That's the second Buffy reference we've had. I did not realize that game had such a big following.
Assistal 68. My OG Xbox game would be Iron Phoenix. It was an online fighting game where your fighter could fly and run like Crouching Tiger style. And it was one-on-one kung fu action with Kung Fu Grip, maybe? Under the radar for sure. And he gives us a nice little link there so we can look at the cover of it. And let's see here. Lastly, The Elusive Man from the Future Monkeys podcast. If PlayStation did backwards compatibility and did PS2 games, I'd go with Devil May Cry. It was my first love on the PlayStation. Oh, wait, that's been remastered on PS3. Shadow of the Colossus. Definitely it was. Damn it, that was remastered too. And we're getting a kick-ass remake to boot. I guess PlayStation doesn't need backwards compatibility. And then he gives us the nice little whatever sign, and then high five Joe.
He sees where his bread is buttered. I'm just throwing that out there. I also wanted to jump back and mention D. Rogers' other mention of Jet Set Radio. Excellent game for that era, and if he wants to play a modern version of it, a lot of people are calling a new game on Steam called Hover: Revolt of Gamers as like a modern Jet Set Radio. So if you got a Steam account, check that game out. I think it might do it for you.
All right. And what is the question for next week, Corey? Oh, we got to answer these. We got to answer this question. God damn it, I always forget that. Go ahead.
Oh shit! Don't put me on the spot. I didn't even.
Jay.
How may I help you, sir?
PsyOps and Republic Commando, your default answers?
Yes, I have multiples, but those are my favorites. PsyOps was a fantastic game. It's kind of, I was hoping when the Star Wars, what was the Force games?
The Unleashed?
Yeah, Force Unleashed. I was hoping those were going to fill that void for me, but they didn't quite because they didn't work quite as well. PsyOps, when I originally played it, just the controls just started playing, and they were really easy to pick up and play. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Republic Commando I liked because it was kind of like Rainbow Six in a way where you could control your teams, and it was Star Wars, and I really enjoyed that. So that was my favorite. And then third for me would be Metal Arms Glitch in the System. Anybody at all remembers that? I, again, go through my timeline and look. And my favorite humorous one was Armed and Dangerous because you had like the corkscrew gun. You put that in, it would turn everything upside down and all the enemies would fall. And then you'd flip back around and it would drop them on the ground and kill them. And then they had the shark gun where you actually shot a shark that would shark that would go along, come up and eat them. And it had that Monty Python humor. So those are some of my favorites. But there's a picture posted of some of my games. PsyOps was not in there, but
all right.
I love those games.
Corey, are you ready now or still on the spot?
I think so, yeah. I could I'll copy Holy Headshot and say that I would love to be able to play The Punisher again. But aside from that, when I had a PS2, when I was in college when I had a PS2, and a buddy of mine actually had that dongle that you could plug into the PS2 and then plug 4 controllers into that. So I was able to play 4 players on my PS2 because he eventually just gave me that. He didn't have his PS2 anymore. And I had a game. Do either of you guys remember the Red Faction series?
Yes.
And this was back when it was just a first-person shooter, very, very basic. But I had Red Faction 2, and that had multiplayer that was fantastic and highly underrated because it was the same time when Halo came out, and Halo took all the glory that time. When it came out. But Red Faction 2 was a super, super good equivalent to Halo on the PS2 if you had a way to play 4 people. So I would love to be able to play that again. I wasted many, many hours in college playing that game.
And I guess for me, I'm not a backwards compatibility guy at all. I'd rather devs spend their time, pushing the envelope on what we can do in the future. But I would like to see, I guess this is a generic answer, but I'd like to see PlayStation get backwards compatibility besides PlayStation Now.
Instead of streaming, be able to download?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be my wish, because I know there's people out there on that side of the fence that wish they could have that feather in their cap, and it would be interesting to go back and see some of those PS2 games that I never got to experience if they were made available. And of course, a lot of this stuff can't be made available because of licensing issues. That's why we're not going to see as many Xbox games, original ones, come to backwards compatibility, just because the studios don't exist anymore, the publishers don't exist anymore, licenses have expired, etc. So it's going to be a smaller amount of games.
Yeah, and I think I'm not sure. Maybe that's why Jet Set Radio Future didn't come through. And just a follow up on that, the pack-in was Sega GT 2002 and Jet Set Radio Future all on one disc. I just was looking at mine that I had in my collection here.
One thing we are learning, Corey, throughout this whole podcast is that Jay is a pack rat.
No shit. God, how many games did he say are sitting right over here next to me?
And not only like does he have them, but they're like within an arm's reach.
His beer is sitting on like 3 of them, I think.
Right.
Well, that, and I have 2 of them with 2 Duke controllers and then multiple other controllers in my entertainment system.
I just have this vision of like Jay being in the basement, like surrounded by video game accessories, and there's like, what do they call those college dinners that you can put in the microwave? There's just like all sorts of wrappers around them and food just on top of these things.
Hungry man's everywhere.
Actually, it's empty beer bottles.
All right. Let's tell them. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, before we get off the topic, does anybody remember Bloodwake, that Twisted Metal on boat game that was for? I think it was a launch title for the original Xbox. That was a lot of fun too. If you had 4 people to play it.
Yeah, there was a demo of that I believe that I used to.
He's got it within his arm's reach.
No,
it's underneath PsyOps, but on top of
that disc is somewhere upstairs.
It's holding a window. It's holding a window open.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what's the question next week, Cor?
The question for it next week is what TV show, not movie, specifically TV show, what TV show would you like to see be made into a video game? And I'm not talking like some shitty iPhone game, because that's where most licenses go now. I'm talking like AAA game, like quality game, when we get excited for licensed games when we were kids. So what TV show would you like to see made into a AAA game? It doesn't have to be like it can be any sort of TV show, sitcom, drama, action, whatever you want. I want to see people get creative with this answer.
All right.
So that is the end of our segment. Should I close it out, bring on the next segment?
Yeah, let's hear from Roddy one last time.
They think they got the answers. I change the questions.
Well, before we play this next sound, I'm just going to talk to the listeners out there. I'm looking at you right in the eye, directing this right at you. The phone number for voicemails is 508-658-BETA. Use that number, because right now Fred French is predominantly the only one calling in and leaving messages for us. I know there's others out there that can do the same. Pick up the phone, leave us some messages. We want to hear from you.
Now, can we put, when you look at your phone and it gives a description of the show, can we put the phone number right in that? Because some people might be in their cars, and if they miss the phone number.
Point. Yep.
So I think we should put it right in there, because if you hear us say some stupid shit that you disagree with, I want you to pause your phone or whatever you're listening on.
Pull over, of course. Safety first.
Pull over. Absolutely. Safety first. And just call and ream us out. That's what I want you to do. Just give us a call. So if our listeners have as shitty of a memory as I do, I would probably not remember if we just rambled off the number, which, by the way, is 508-658-BETA, B-E-T-A. So we'll try to put it in the description, I think, if we can.
And so that means next week I expect at least 10 voicemails for people calling me out on the mispronunciation of PsyOps. They heard that, and they were just so outraged that they just grabbed their phone.
Please call us. Our intro song for that segment says "Don't talk to me," but we don't really mean it.
Let's hear it. GG. Rest in peace, right. GG Allen.
Now, the one and only phone call is from the missing, would you say the 5th cast member, I guess he's become?
Our fifth Beatle.
Right.
Sixth.
Yes, you're right. 6. What am I talking about? All right, Fred French.
Gamers in Freedom. Guess who's calling in? I know you have no idea, right? It's Fred French, a.k.a. Fred. Anyway, guys,
That never
another
gets
great
old.
show last week. Want to just hit a few things on your show last week. First of all, you had that one guy on from Dad's Getting Grounded podcast as a co-host again. You tweaked my interest in his show. I'm going to say it on here. Just I don't know how to let the guy know, but I listened to the Dad's show, and you know what? I'm a fan. I'm a good fan. I'm a member. I'm a fan. Thank you very much to
He's an enthusiast.
Gamers in Beta for turning me on to a new podcast. And to the Dad's Getting Grounded, here's a shout out to you. Great podcast, guys. If Fred's a new listener.
There you go. Cross promotion.
Now let's do your question of the week there, gamers. I had a original Xbox, but I got to say I didn't really play it much. I was more into Sony Cab at the time. I just had a few games that I played here and now and then. So I don't know. Maybe one game I'd like to see is that Baldur's Gate brought back.
Oh,
I
yeah.
enjoyed that.
That was so much fun.
I'm pretty sure that was one where you went in the cellar and killed the rats and went on from there. Nothing like killing some rats. And if I could, I'll just throw in one more. I really enjoyed Skies of Arcadia on the GameCube. Boy, that was a great game. That I would like to see come back also. And I could be wrong. I don't know. You guys could correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that was also on the short-lived Dreamcast, but I never played it there. I only played it on the Cube, but good game, good game. Now, a question for you guys. This Tuesday with old Crash coming back to us. Fresh new paint on him, all spruced up, ready to go. Are you going to buy it? Are you going to go back in and hit Crash up again, or are you staying away? Fred here, I'm like a big Crash fan. I think I'm going to throw my money at it again. Yeah, I paid for it once, and put me in line, I'll pay for it again. Which brings me kind of to a second part of the question. Do you think that developers doing this, is this just a run for the cash, a quick, throw a little bit of paint on it, do this, do that, recash it on a game, or are you all for them? Going into the old archives and digging up what's old, brushing it off, putting some paint on it, making it new, and let us gamers pay for it a second time. I'd like to hear what all you fellows think about that. All right, guys, have a great week. Game on, arrivederci.
I like that he keeps the arrivederci sign on. That's become part of it, the whole thing. Are you guys buying the Crash Insane trilogy?
I don't know. Yeah, I was never played the original, so I don't have any. I don't have the nostalgia, urges to go out and buy it. I played it a little bit at PAX East. Thought it was all right. It was okay. Certainly played a little bit of it in Uncharted 4. Right? I don't. What's it? $29?
Yeah, no, it is a budget title. So yeah, I don't even think it's 40. I'm pretty sure it is $29.99. And it's all 3 games, too. It's not just one of the Crash games remade. It's the Insane Trilogy. So, come on. 3 games in one. I'm definitely getting it. I can't even say that I'm definitely getting it. My wife is an enormous Crash fan, so I think she's just going to flat out buy it. So, either way, I'm going to have it, and it's going to be played in my house. She's way better at those games than I am. Those platformers, I liked them, but I never got that great at them. And she is like, she has to get every single thing. She has to 100% those games. So, yeah, I will get it, and I'll be playing it.
Let me, well, Jay, you said you didn't have any nostalgia with this, so does that mean no? Maybe on a sale?
Really no interest in it. I didn't play all the others, and with the amount of games that I'm just trying to catch up on now, it's not something I'm going to add to my shame pile to try and get back in.
So let me ask you, Corey, since your wife is so interested in this, and Fred asked us why are developers doing this, I don't know if it's so much a cash grab, but would you categorize this more as fan service? Like, how long have we been hearing people saying, when are you going to bring Crash back? When are you going to bring Conquer back? And then they wear these shirts, whether it's Sean from PlayStation or who, I think, Phil, didn't he wear a shirt one year that caused a disturbance in the Force?
A couple of years, yeah.
And
Battletoads.
Battletoads, right.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And do you think it's a cash grab or fan service? I think it's more fan service. It's what the fans want, so let's just give them what they want. And they know they can make money at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't think it's a cash grab would insinuate that they're doing a slapdash,
an Activision
half-assed job and just putting some paint on it and putting it back out. And I mean, this is a complete remake of all three games. It's clearly a lot of work is going into them. It doesn't look anything like the old ones, but it's of course paying homage to them. And I mean, they originally released 20 years ago. So 21 years ago? I think the first Crash was 96. I think the first Crash Bandicoot game came out. So the devs who were making these, those are the fans of these games. They were playing them originally. So I think it's more of a fan service. And I think big name developers and publishers know how much money they can make on nostalgia. Nostalgia is a very strong pull now. So I wouldn't call it a cash grab, but I think it's an acknowledgement of there's money on the table. These people want this, and it's a part of Sony that I think Sony should be proud of. I think that was Crash Bandicoot was a lot of fun, and it was back in the day when they were competing and they were saying, hey, we have our own Mario, Crash, and I'm happy with it. I don't think it's a cash grab, and I think it's more of a nostalgia grab, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Excellent. Well, you'll have to let us know how it is. Comes out this week. And that's the only voicemail we had. Again, you can call and leave a message, 508-658-BETA. Do it. Don't let Fred stand alone.
Yeah, Fred, next time you get to mention mustard.
Hey, you don't correct Fred, all right? He picked me in the Battle Royale, so he's my...
How about if I politely ask?
There you go. You don't demand anything of Fred. I also want to say, Fred, you're right. Skies of Arcadia was on Dreamcast, but I did not want to interrupt you.
All right, we have a one listener question this week, and Jay is eager to answer this because it's summertime in Maine, and Jay is all kissing babies, shaking hands on his ATV. He's doing all sorts of stuff and doesn't have time for gaming anymore, so he's going to let us know about that. So the question from DRP2309S is, how do you find the time to game considering you all have jobs and other responsibilities? Take it away, Jay.
How does that happen? I don't watch television that much. So instead, the time that probably most people use to kind of sit back and chill out and watch shows, I usually will be playing games. Although, as Mike had mentioned, for me, it's a transition in schedules. So I have actually been watching more television, catching up on a couple of shows. When Game of Thrones that'll come out. So it'll get even tighter. But normally it's at night I'll play a couple hours of games rather than watching television. So that's usually how I keep up with it. So although the summertime does reduce the amount of time to play, so get out and a lot of projects, and the wife is really pushing. I've got a second bathroom that I have to build, so
bring that outhouse in-house.
Yeah, that's not that bad. And I have a kitchen remodel also that I have to do.
Oh, regular Bob Wheeler over there.
God damn.
I'm waiting for Corey to answer, then I have a nice question for you guys. Go ahead, Corey.
I agree with Jay. I don't really watch a lot of TV. I mostly play games when I do have free time and not watching. I'm not a sports fan at all, so I'd never have to keep up with any sports. That frees up a lot of time. But lately, all this really good shit is coming out on Netflix right now, like all these new seasons of Orange is the New Black, Kimmy Schmidt, House of Cards. So that is taking up some of my gaming time right now. But also, having a kid, I now have to weigh how much do I need sleep versus how much games do I want to play, because that's pretty much that's the time that I can play. Like once my daughter's gone to bed, I have a few hours. I have to get up early, and I'm like, can I be tired tomorrow? Do I really need sleep? So that's what I have to trade away is sleep. I trade away a good amount of sleep for games. I'll do that quite a few days into the week, and then I always need to catch up. So there's always 1 or 2 days in the week where I'll see you guys on the Twitter or Discord chat just saying like, oh, do you guys want to jump on? And it's like 8:30, and I'm like, I'm going to fucking bed. Fuck this. I've abused myself these past couple of nights. I really need to get some sleep. So yeah, that's what I do. I trade sleep, which probably isn't healthy.
Oh, that's what I'm doing tonight.
Corey is the segue master. Because
there you go.
First of all, I would say that you two guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, and we've heard Corey mention OCD and things like that before, but would you guys, I would categorize you two rather than myself as more obsessive about the game itself and completing it right away, right? Like Jay, distinctively, I remember during Horizon Zero Dawn, that's all I think about. You know, I'm at work, I want to get home, I want to jump back into it, and I want to play.
Yes.
Corey, the same way maybe with Breath of the Wild. You finished it, you knocked it out, over 100 hours, right, in a relatively short amount of time?
Oh, yeah, and if I have a game that has a narrative like that, and it's a long game, even if I'm not into it anymore, it will hang over my head like homework. I'm like, fuck, I gotta go home, and I gotta at least put 2 or 3 hours into this tonight, and like I feel obligated.
See, I think the older I get, I have zero of that, and the whole sleep thing, I fucking love sleep, guys. I can't tell you how much I am addicted to sleep. And, yeah, I just, you know, especially with the hours I have now where I get out of work at 10 o'clock, and I've been sitting at this desk from like probably noon because I try to fit in an hour of gaming before work. So I've literally sat at this desk now for 10 hours with maybe a lunch break in the middle there, which is not the healthiest thing to do, to be sitting at a desk for fucking 10 hours. And then I'm going to go play some more games for 2 to 3 hours after that. It doesn't really happen by 11:30 at night after looking at a computer screen for 9 hours. My eyes are like done. They're like, nope, you need to go do something else. So that's usually when I go fucking, you know, try to hit that little dot on the top of my ceiling with some Pornhub and... you know, and I'm usually in bed by 12. You know, but I need to try to do what Corey does and say, hey, let me burn a few days here and then catch up later in the week because I'm not finishing games. I'm not finishing Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm not finishing Zelda. They're just going on and on and on.
Oh, it's not healthy. It's not healthy to like stay up late and then catch up on the sleep. But I've learned to function that way. Like tomorrow, I'll probably be functioning on like 5 hours of sleep, and I can do that. I'm in a shitty mood. I'm not like good creatively. Like if I have writing to do, which I do have writing to do tomorrow, I try to get 8 hours of sleep because that's when I function better and I don't hate the world. If I have like 5 or less hours of sleep the night before, fuck everybody. I'm just in a shitty mood all day.
We'll all be in the same boat tomorrow. Jay's got to work early. Corey, I'm sure, has to work early. I usually on Mondays get up early and edit the podcast because I'm home with my son all day on Monday now that preschool is out for the summer. So we will all be, well, not together, spiritually. We will all be tired together.
Yeah, we're not even done yet, and I've got to be up in 6 hours. So,
well,
but as far as the games go, the OCD you say, when I get into a game like Witcher, Fallout 4, Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, even with Horizon Zero Dawn sucked me in so much that I felt compelled to do the platinum. Just because it was attainable. It was reasonably attainable without having to go too far outside of things. But, yeah, those games I really wanted to finish and dole them out. To be honest with you, though, with Zelda, I haven't touched it in probably a week. And I am nowhere near finished. I've only done 2 of the Divine Beasts. But I'm kind of, like Mike said, you get to that, or like you said, I should say, that you go in, you felt compelled, you had to finish it. And it's not hanging over my head like that. Well, it kind of is a little bit, but not enough to make me play this week. So
we don't need to get into that now, but there is an interesting argument that maybe we pick up on a different show, and I've heard other podcasts larger than ourselves say, you don't owe it to games to finish them.
Oh, yeah, I agree. We need to have that conversation because I have a lot of thoughts on that too.
Yeah, so we'll table that for another day, but that is an interesting thing to pick up and talk. And I know Jay wants to say something, but Jay, I'm not going to let you because we need to move on because you need to get some sleep. We don't need you to be a grumper tomorrow. Okay?
Oh, I'm going to be a grumpy bastard tomorrow.
All right, so let's. We haven't talked about what we've been playing in a couple weeks because we covered some E3 stuff. So let's quickly here get into some of the games we've been playing, and I guess I'll go first. I'm playing a decent amount of PUBG. Yeah, PUBG, baby. Been playing that on the... go ahead.
I was just going to say PUBG always reminds me of an Irish DJ. But you got, what do you get, top 20? I saw that you posted on Twitter. You got in the top 20 recently?
So last night, this weekend... What day is today? Sunday. I can't remember what day it was. Thursday and last night. So Thursday and Saturday, Devious Mr. Matt of the 40cast, and Jeremy of Dad's Getting Grounded, the three of us. We're playing this on the PC, of course, and having a lot of fun, not doing a lot of killing. I don't think any of us have killed anybody. And
this is what has made me want to pick this game up even more now.
I mean, now we're
top
getting
20 didn't kill anyone.
Now we're getting into cars and driving around and getting stuck places. It's like, you know, it's comedy gold is what it is. But last night I managed to get to 11. Jeremy already had to log off by that point, but it was just me and Matt, and I got to 11. Didn't kill anybody. I was crouching behind rocks, and what happened was the world just got so small that you have to move eventually, you know, and so
that's when they get you.
The combination of the blue coming up from behind me, slowly taking the health away from me, and then a sniper somewhere, you know, killed me. But we did all right, you know, as the three of us, we got into the group top 20 once. I got into 11 last night. That was my best. And then as far as our overall group, the best rank we got was 4 out of like 27 groups or something like that. But we haven't killed anybody. You know, we go into buildings, we loot them, we stay there for a little bit, and we always make fun of the fourth person in our party because they can't hear us. Because we're always on Skype and stuff like that. We had this one guy the other day. You're not going to believe this. We had this one guy in our group the other day troubleshooting with PayPal on speakerphone. Like, so we're running around in the game, and the guy's talking about money and how he doesn't have a card, and can they send him a new card, and he has $11,000 in his PayPal account. It was the craziest thing. And finally, the guy's giving out his fucking number, his account number. And finally, I was like, you know what, this has gone too far. I hold down the T button, the push to talk, and I'm like, dude, we can hear everything. You know, what the fuck?
This has been streaming for the past 20 minutes. Everyone has their credit card
work.
And then, like,
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, and then like 10, 15 seconds later, you just see like the big X come up on his name. Like he muted himself. That was hysterical. Having lots of fun with PUBG. Making slow progress in Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm probably, I don't know, somewhere near the end, I believe. Maybe another, 10 hours to go, maybe. I'm not sure. But I'm at level 31, 2 power cells shy of the power armor. And I should really just be 1 power cell shy because I didn't get the very, very first one that you could get. And that's what I'm trying to get back into that town or that temple, but the gate is locked and it won't open up for me. So, yeah.
That is so weird. It's almost like they did a patch that prevents you from going back in, because it used to be a thing where if you fast travel over there, you'd have to go outside of that area completely. It kind of, would force it. So then you come back in and it would open.
So what I've been doing is, when I notice it's night, I go to my map, I put a waypoint on where the gate is. Because there's a campfire right before the gate. Yep. And then I fast travel maybe 300 to 400 meters or yards, whatever that number corresponds to, away, and then I just walk like 400 meters to the gate. So I'm not fast traveling right in front of the gate. I'm crossing over all the bridges, and it's nighttime, and the thing won't open up for me.
You have to actually leave that area and then run back through, because there's multiple bridges. You have to take the bridge that brings you out of that area, and what it does is it kind of resets that area.
I go over the bridge that, like, where you met the kid whose mother was the war chief. You know, bridge I'm talking about, like that very first gate that you open.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you could go further out than that. Isn't there one more bridge beyond that?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look. But that's where I'm getting stuck.
Check that out. That may be the issue. But yeah, it seems like there's an issue for people now afterwards, because they did an update after I had done that, because I ran into the same issue.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I won't finish the fucking game if I can't get the power armor.
Valid. The power armor's badass.
Moving on, next, Machina. Is that how the pronunciation goes, Corey? Is that what we're going with?
I thought it was Nex Machina, just because I'm used to saying Ex Machina, but maybe, I don't know. It's the House Marquee game that just came out.
And the easiest way I can describe this is almost like Resogun on foot.
Yeah, it's essentially, this is probably, I'm going to date myself, but it's Robotron. It's a modern Robotron, or Smash TV, I guess, if you want to call it that, which makes sense. Shit. Because the guy who made those games, Eugene Jarvis, was the creative consultant.
Right. This game is phenomenal. It's fabulous. It is in my top 5 games of the year so far. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm playing it on PC, and I think I'm in World 3 now, so I've beaten the first 2 bosses in arcade mode.
Oh yeah, it's super super fun. I wrote an article about it. It's not actually a review, so it's kind of weird. It's an article I'm writing for a new site, but it's not up yet. I had to do a quick rewrite. My bad. But that should be going up soon. But yeah, I think the same thing. I fucking love it. I like twin stick shooters, but this is like one of the most competent twin stick shooters I've played in years.
It's fucking locked in solid.
Is this the same company that made Dead Nation and all that stuff? Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
I have a feeling I'd love this.
It's their first. It's their first independently developed and published game. All their other games have been published by like Sony Interactive or Activision or like Ubisoft. This is their first one that they've done themselves. They've done all the work for, and it's just so competent. Like all the design choices are like perfect. You can tell these people have been making twin stick shooters for so long. Like that dash move. When you get that dash move down, you can tear through crowds of guys. And they slowly drop like power ups, like a Contra style, like you get like the spread gun, and now you get more range. So there's no like leveling up your character like Dead Nation or Alienation, but there's that progression that you get during the action. It's super super arcadey. It feels like you're playing an arcade game.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer that because the was it Alien Nation. That one, I didn't like the upgrades on that. It didn't feel like you could just go in and do it. So it felt more like I had to grind to do stuff.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I think it's worth checking out. I think it's $20 on both spots, maybe on sale with the Steam sale. I'm not sure, but yeah, 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs
and
up.
And it's PC and PS4, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Not on Xbox.
Not on Xbox.
Windows PC. I think on Steam, last I checked, it was like $14.99, and I think $19.99 on PS4. My only complaint is there's no online co-op. There's co-op, but it's couch co-op only,
which is a big thing.
It's a lot of fun. I played it with my wife, couch co-op, and it is tons of fun. And I think they're just going with their arcade motif. Like this is an homage to old arcade games. But I mean, that's one modern thing I think you really need to embrace. You know, because playing that game with anybody would be a lot of fun. It's more fun next to the person, but online would be good. But the leaderboard
and their other games had it.
Yes, Dead Nation and Alienation have it.
Yeah.
The Dead Nation one did not work for the longest time. That had to be patched. It was pretty bad at first.
All right, moving on. I've played some ARMS today on the Switch. I got to say, I like ARMS. I think it's really fun. I think it's unique. It's different. Didn't play a ton of it, but the first, 30, 45 minutes I played today, I really enjoyed it. So,
are you playing with controller, or are you using the motion?
I'm using Pro Controller.
Okay, how does that work as opposed to the motion controller?
I don't know how the motion controller works, but this just has buttons. So like you press A to punch, and then you push the left thumbstick to the left or right to curve your punch.
Is it like right trigger is right arm, left trigger is left arm when you punch, or how does that work?
A or B.
Oh, okay.
And then you can use your you hold down A and B at the same time to grab the person, and yeah, you can use the triggers as well. If you want. Yep. Click in on the left thumbstick to block. So yeah, there's a little tutorial, a little couple matches they let you go through at the beginning. But yeah, I really like it. I think it looks phenomenal too. Looks really good.
I don't like it because I'm not very good at it, but I love the art style of it. I'm like jealous of people that are playing it because the art style is really cool.
Yeah. And the last thing I've been playing on the Switch as well is Kamiko. This to me feels like an old school Zelda type game. Hack and slash, a bunch of enemies, go find chests that have keys in them, chests that have orbs in them, bring the key to the keyhole, bring the orb to the place that holds the orb, and then it opens more places for you. So I've been playing that. I think that's like $4.99 on Switch.
Yeah, I have almost pulled the trigger on that a few times, and it has that like purpose retro stylization.
Yeah, it's got the retro look, retro music, everything like that. So that's pretty enjoyable. Cleared the first stage so far. Let's see what happens from there. And that's me.
I guess I'll carry on here. I've been playing Perception on the Xbox One. That's from the guys that
Deep End Games.
Deep End Games, which did some of the devs that were from
BioShock.
BioShock, correct. And so you are playing as a blind girl who has had some dreams of this mansion, and so she's going in there, and her perception of the world is through echolocation, basically. And you have to go in and you tap your cane, and it kind of gives you sight. It's all kind of bluish gray or whatnot, and to see things. So then you have to explore this mansion and kind of go through and find out what's going on. And you open up the story as you go through, and there's like some tape recorders that you listen to and kind of give you more of the story of what's happening. So it's pretty interesting. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. It's probably the game that I've been playing the most over the past couple weeks. So
how far into it are you? Like
I really don't. Hour-wise, I don't know, probably 8 or 10 hours. Just
because Sean Evans posted the other day that he had to stop playing. He was playing with him and his daughter, and they like to play these, horror games, I guess, for a better.
Yeah, they play them together.
Yeah, and he said after an hour they had to stop. That was so scary, and sort of cleanse the palate for a little bit before they went back.
It's not that scary, but it is. I mean, playing at night there's definitely a difference playing at night in the dark than there is playing during the day.
I don't want to belabor the point too much, but it has not gotten the greatest reviews from the critics.
It does not hold your hand, so that is probably the negative, because I was wondering why they was getting the negatives. But I start playing, and then I'll be like, oh, geez, this is kind of tedious. But then I'll get another piece of the puzzle or the story, and it will move me along, and I'll be like, okay, I got to check this out. I mean, it is not it's not fast paced. It's more like a walking simulator in a way. So I can understand it.
Look into your crystal ball, Jay. Thimbleweed Park just got an update this week because people were saying things that you were just saying, that it didn't hold their hand, and many complaints that Thimbleweed Park got was that it needed a hint system. So they've implemented that. Could you see this game getting some sort of hint system?
I cannot see this game getting that system because it's already in the game, and once I figured that out, it that's what's helped me move forward. It will highlight what the next thing you need to move to move the story forward, without giving you a hint that would spoil it. So it does help in that way.
Now, Corey, you have played this before at either FIG or at PAX. Is this something you think you'll jump into at some point? As you said, you're a pussy when it comes to these games, right?
I typically am, but like Jay mentioned, a lot of people are calling it a horror game, and some people are mentioning it's a walking simulator. I, again, only played it briefly at a couple of these conventions. It felt more like a kind of scary walking simulator. It didn't really...
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Jay to give us a bad dad joke and not call it a walking or horror, but a walk whore.
Oh, see, what'd you do it for him?
I want to move the show along. Jay's
well, you really couldn't do it there because there's no parkour in it.
Oh,
there you go.
There it
There it was. All right. What else you playing, Jay?
Speedrunners, which is the free game on Xbox. I've played this previously on PC, and I really enjoy this game. It's 8-bit graphics, it's cheesy, it's a runner, but you're playing against other people, and boy, is it a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. So I've been playing that. I played that with my son. We played local co-op. The nice thing is this has local co-op, and it also has online co-op. So if anybody is interested in playing this, download it and give me a holler on Xbox, and we will play it because I really enjoy playing this game. It's very simple, but a lot of fun. I've been playing some Minecraft because my nephews messaged me on Xbox Live and wanted to play, and they have limited games because they're younger. So we went in and played some Minecraft, and I brought them into the world that I had built, and we were running around having a lot of fun in there. So enjoyed that. And I also got like a Redstone pack or something from watching the E3 press conferences on Mixer via Microsoft. If you watched, you got some kind of pack. And that is what is tying the remainder of these games that I've played. These were also in the pack. So I guess you would get the rare replay, but I already owned it, so I didn't. So let's move on to Final Station, which was one of the games that I got for free, which is kind of, I believe Joe played this and really enjoyed it. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's it's different and weird.
Yeah, I reviewed it too for PS4.
Yeah, so well, I may have to holler at you if I play some more of it, but it's not something that's really dragging me in. It's odd. You're on a train just moving through, and
my advice is not just don't try to follow the narrative. It's simply a post-apocalyptic zombie sim, but it's like I wouldn't even say sim, zombie game. It's a 2D side scroller where you're like you're on a train and you move from one area to the next, and while you're on the train, you have to it's almost like a sim where you have to keep your party members alive, and then when you park, you got to go into these like abandoned stations or sections of the city, scavenge, and come back. But the narrative is what I was a little harsh on it in my review. I think if I could go back, I would ease up on it a little bit. But the narrative really doesn't make any sense, really. It's very confusing, like what they try to – when you talk to people and stuff, it doesn't make a ton of sense. I feel like they try to cram too much narrative into just a simple zombie game. But, I mean – I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I like the gameplay of it anyway.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's just I haven't figured it out. I played it and was like, what? And then No Time to Explain. Have you played this one?
No, I haven't played that. I've seen this.
Well, I have no time to explain it because I don't understand it. Again, both of these are really weird games. There's probably a reason why they were free. I believe it's Tiny Build does these. Which they put out a lot of these little ones, which a lot of people like, but for me, it's not really in the genre that I like. So, it's a side-scrolling kind of beat 'em up, kind of. Well, maybe not beat 'em up because it's 8-bit, but you got to kind of go through and semi-side-scrolling platform fighting game. It's strange. I have to put some more time into it to figure it out. That one I kind of want to. These two games, Final Station and No Time to Explain, I just want to go in and try and figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do.
See, what you're supposed to do, Jay, is you're supposed to go back to your early to late teens and get out the weed and play them.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much. I think that explains it. So, yeah. And then on my phone, I've been playing, what the hell is it called? Bubble Pop or something like that. So
riveting.
Bubble Cloud. So, enjoying that one. My wife and my son had both been addicted to that game. So I've actually played more of that than anything except for Perception this week. So
what happened? Did you get bored with your balls?
Never get bored.
I kind of did. I can't beat my score, and the accuracy on the console is on the console with an iOS is just.
Well, don't be afraid to hand your balls over to someone else and then let them beat them, and then they can get your balls back.
I've handed my balls over to all the listeners because a lot of them have played. So,
all right. And Corey, you already mentioned one game. You have anything else to add on that, or you just want to talk about Ark?
I just want to say for next Machina or Machina, if you're a fan at all of Robotron, Smash TV, or Resogun, if any of those games did anything for you, buy it. Yeah, you will not regret it. I guarantee it.
We're looking at you, RoboPig. Pick this one up, you fucker.
Yeah, come on. It's no end of the Gungeon. You should buy this shit.
That's right.
And as far as art goes, I can just sum it up with a sound effect.
Dinosaurs?
That's pretty much all I have to say. I don't want to bore anybody with Ark. I'm playing it offline, so it's pretty much just just me.
All right. Well, let's get into some of the news. And I think we got a segment, or a music for that segment, I should say.
We do.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Alrighty, it's time for the news, and let's start off with some notable releases. This week we have Brawlhalla, Everybody remember that game? It's at every PAX that we go to.
At least the last 3 PAXs, I swear to God.
Are you serious? This is just coming out?
I think it's it's coming to the PS4.
Oh, okay.
So I think that is the new. I'm not sure if it's actually being released, if it's in their preview program or whatever, but it's coming to the PS4 this week. If you like, Super Smash Brothers, this is in the same vein.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. It's weird. I took a demo for it like 2 years ago, so my memory of it is cloudy.
Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, we already covered that. That is out this week. If you go to these conventions and you see people wearing shirts that say filthy casual, has anybody ever seen those before?
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere.
So the guy who's filthy casual, him and his fiance and some other people, he has made this game called Jump Jet Rex. So that's coming to the PS4 this week as well. This next game is very, very interesting. Cryptarch. Everybody go to their browsers now and type in Cryptarch and look it up. I am intrigued by what I'm seeing with this. This looks pretty fucking interesting. Alien Trap Games are making it. It's a 2D sci-fi shooter. But it looks phenomenal. It looks very interesting to me, so I will be looking at it from a distance, or I will be picking up it on Steam, where it is currently 25% off at $11.24.
Now,
And
is
it's
it
roguelike?
That's what I was going to ask. Is it a roguelike or Metroidvania type thing going on?
I am not sure, Corey.
No? Okay.
Oh my God, this looks freaking awesome.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, screenshots do look pretty cool.
Yes, it looks unbelievable.
I'm watching a video. That's why you're all robot-y. Squirrel's running like a bastard in the router.
Let's move on. Marvel Heroes Omega coming to the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, also coming to the Xbox One is Goliath. Do you remember this? This was a game I think Corey was asking us about just a couple episodes ago. This is the one where you went into those mechs that were made out of wood.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
This is coming to the Xbox One this week. Again, that is called Goliath.
Didn't you guys, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you guys play it 2 years ago at PAX and you raved about it, and then the next year you played it and it was not good?
Yeah, he made a bunch of changes.
I played it at PAX and I thought it was just okay. Interesting concept. Then I got it home and played it on my PC.
Oh, okay.
And the thing was just not optimized. Like at one point I'd get like over 200 frames per second, and then at one point I'd get like 1. So
yeah, and we played it the second year when we played it at PAX. It just, the first year it's kind of like, okay, this is like not even early access. I mean, it was pre-beta or alpha. And the next year we played it and it was supposed to be beta, and it just did not play well at all. But the idea of it was really good. The gameplay that they had was very interesting, and if it worked and ran well, it would have done well. So this would be interesting to see how it runs now. I mean, if they've got it optimized, I think it could have some legs, as they say.
Yep. Now let's get into some of the bigger releases this week, and this is all DLC. Zelda Breath of the Wild Expansion 1 is out this week. And Corey, what do we know about this expansion? Do you remember?
Now it's got like the Trial of the Sword, right? It's
yes.
like almost like a horde mode type thing.
Exactly.
Where enemies come at you and you have to clear them, and I'm not sure what you unlock by doing that, but I think those take place in the little dungeon type things. The shrines, I think there's special shrines to this.
I've got to ask, though, does this give you any interest in going back to Zelda with this DLC that they announced?
No, I finished it.
Yeah.
It was a great time when I played it, and I actually miss the time, the like month that I had with it, like knowing that I could come home and play it. But I don't think so. This is not enough to make me want to come back. You'd have to give me something narrative based.
Yeah, there's no story or anything.
The second one is going to be narrative based.
Yeah, that might do it.
This is just going to whet your appetite for a little bit more. Moving on to Titanfall 2. They are getting their 6th DLC, and again, it is all free.
6
DLC drop for Titanfall 2, who says they still have over 1 million players playing monthly. And unfortunately, us here, I think myself, Jay, and Joe, really enjoyed the campaign but didn't do any multiplayer, which is probably a shame.
Yeah, because I heard it was good. Again, too many games, and it came out at a very bad time.
So let's quickly go through what you're going to get here. You're going to be getting map, war games, pilots on the frontier frequently use simulator pods to train using lifelike recreations, blah, blah, blah. So whatever that is, you're going to be getting that.
What's blah, blah, blah?
You'll find out. It's not in your balls, though. Live fire map traffic, a weather test site where pilot positioning is pitted against mobility across two busy thoroughfares. New execution, shadow boxing. And so for the holo pilots, getting 20 pilot kills while a holo pilot ability is active. A third weapon slot for pilots. Titan Brawl will be added to the permanent list of game modes, and a new feature mode called Free Agents, and of course the all-important hot fixes, balance changes, and other features and updates. So again, that's all free. This one here is probably the one I am most interested in, Diablo 3 Necromancer Pack. This is $15, and it'll be across PC, Xbox One, and the PlayStation 4. Anybody feel like jumping back into Diablo 3 for $15?
No.
I don't know, man. I mean, what exactly do you get with? Obviously, you get like a necromancer class, but is that it? Just the class for the pack, or what is it?
I'm trying to get more info here, but Spot is being a bitch.
It's a new character. You get the Necromancer, which was in previous games. So now you get the Necromancer and all his stuff that comes with him, which is just, upgrades and his tree. So basically, it's a character for $15.
Yeah, and there's the other stuff is less significant components. They're calling a non-combat pet, a set of cosmetic wings, banner customization options, portrait frame, and pennant. Players also get 2 more character slots and stash tabs. And so if you've never played Diablo 3 at all, you can go out and buy this now for $40. They're going to be calling this the Diablo 3 Eternal Collection, which bundles the pack with the existing Ultimate Evil Edition. Usually this is going to be $60, but for a limited time it will be $40.
It was pretty fun. I thought Diablo 3 ran pretty well as far as consoles go. I would recommend playing it if you haven't played Diablo 3. If you have some downtime in between games and you don't want to dig into your shame pile, Diablo 3 was pretty fun. I don't think I'll go back to it, but it was definitely worth a play.
And it played better I thought it played better on console than it did on PC. I really enjoyed it. And occasionally I fire it up and go back and play with my Witch Doctor. So.
Moving along here, this game was not in the things I've played, but I have played it this week. Friday the 13th, I've been playing that on the PlayStation 4 with Games on the Mind. And it is more fun when you play as Jason than as the camp counselors.
Is it working well now? How are the servers working at?
I had no issues in the hour and a half I played with Nick. Didn't have too many issues. He was the one controlling everything as far as matchmaking, but the biggest problem, I think, is maybe sometimes we didn't get a full match, like a full group of counselors, but the game still played. So I don't know how many counselors you can play as. Let's say you can play as 8 counselors. Maybe sometimes we got 6 instead of 8, or sometimes we got 4 instead of 6, whatever the limit is. Sometimes we were always too short. But
it looks like what they're trying to do seems really true to the franchise, like with the the fear aspect and stalking the counselors and stuff. It looks really, really cool, but the only thing that scared me off of buying it were all the launch problems they had with the servers and everything. I heard the execution went really poorly, but
right, it seems to be running better, and this news here is sort of a make good for them. So this weekend, they're happy to announce that so I guess by the time you're hearing this might be over. But anyways, it's important to get the word out there. They're happy to announce every player is getting quite a few goodies for thanks for their support and patience. Everyone is getting an additional 13,000 customization points in their account to buy some perks and Jason kills. On top of that, this weekend from the 23rd to the 25th, which is today, so I need to do this immediately after the show, Double PXP weekend for all players, and they fix some exploit issues. But the big announcement is they've announced a new Jason for free, and this is Retro Jason. So you're the retro guy, Corey. Do you know what Retro Jason means?
Yeah, I don't think they're allowed to like legally say it anywhere in the announcement. They just leave it at Retro Jason. But essentially, if anybody remembers the NES Friday the 13th game, it was an Atlas game. You played as Jason, and for some reason in that horrific abortion of a game, they made Jason purple. He has like a completely purple suit. So this Retro Jason is just a Jason in a purple suit. So it's like a nod to the old, LJN Atlas game. So I think that's
I didn't realize that it was a nod to an older game, because everybody's like, "Oh my God, this! Why would I want this? It's ugly."
Oh yeah, it's
and
purposely
it kind of
ugly.
is.
Yeah, because Jason was like, it's like that game is inexplainable. It's so bizarre. And yeah, Jason shows up in like a purple suit, and it looks like he's holding a giant toothbrush, because the way they animated his knife just looks like a huge toothbrush. So I wish they gave you like a toothbrush weapon in the this DLC weapon too.
That'd be awesome.
But yeah, this game, I think if you can get it on sale, or if you're willing to pay the full, I think it's $40, maybe $30. I can't remember. This would be a lot of fun for game nights. It was very, very satisfying getting Nick and then squeezing him until his fucking body parts started popping off. So that was a lot of fun.
Did you ever play a game, or how many games have you played?
Probably 6 to 8 games.
Any of them where the counselors won?
Yes. This is the thing. Not the counselors can't win all of them. I've never played a game where all 8 counselors managed to escape.
Or a counselor, you're right.
Yes, every time. Yeah, the police. So you're a counselor and you're going through these buildings, and you might have to repair like a circuit board or circuit breaker outside so the phone works again, and then you call the cops, and the cops come eventually. I think within like 3 or 4 minutes. You go into some and you pick up canisters for gas, and you put gas in the car so you can drive away. There's all sorts of stuff like that. So yes, every time I played, a certain percentage of counselors got away. When I played, I killed 4, and 4 got away.
And there is a way for them to kill Jason too, right? Like if they work together.
I heard convoluted.
I heard it's very difficult. Yeah.
Yes.
There's one guy that comes back that you can't play as. I'm not a big Friday the 13th guy, so I don't know all this lore. But there's one guy. There's something you do in the game that will bring back someone. If dies, they have a chance to come back, to sort of like come back to life.
You have to have a woman playing in as one of the counselors as a woman, and they have to go get Jason's mother's sweater and walk up to Jason and do something, and then one of the male counselors has to die and come back as this. I can't remember the name of the character.
His name is Tommy, and he comes back with like a big shotgun.
Right, and he has to come back and find a machete, and then he can kill Jason. But then there's a bunch of other things that I don't remember.
Killing Jason isn't necessary, though. No. What happens is you get flare guns, and you can stun him, and he falls down. You can stab him in the neck with like scissors or like other knives and stuff, and he falls down, and that gives you 10 to 15 seconds to get away. And it is really interesting. It's a good time. It's not something I would play like all day long, but a game night, 2 to 3 hours, it would be a lot of fun.
Fun to play with friends and stuff. Yeah.
I think it's Tommy Jarvis, right? And you have you have a shotgun. I think you only have like 1 or 2 rounds. I think that's another limiter, that it gives you very, very few rounds.
But to kill him, it's just a bonus. I mean, it's an extra bonus thing if you do it. Kind of that you were able to create, because, like Mike said, you don't need that to win. You need to escape to win.
Yeah, I hear I've heard of a lot of stories of people tell me about situations where they just say like, fuck the rest of the counselors. And if they get the gas in the car, they'll just leave. They'll just drive off without their teammates. So yeah, that can happen.
All right, moving along here. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered is coming out this week, the standalone edition. So if you remember, last year you could buy Infinite Warfare and it would be packed in with Modern Warfare Remastered. And, of course, if you traded in your disc, you could no longer play. You needed your disc to play the Modern Warfare Remastered. So now there is a standalone edition coming out this week just for the PlayStation 4. It is $40. It will include the full campaign as well as all the original 16 maps. We'll come to other platforms later, but right now just the PS4. Next, we got some Xbox news that Sean and maybe Corey is interested in. Conan Exiles out August 16th with a free expansion.
Yeah, I'm
endowment
definitely
slider.
no endowment slider. Are you sure? Have they commented
Not on the Xbox. Yeah, they said they removed it for the Xbox.
Oh, that's so lame.
So the open world survival game, again, is out August 16th on the Xbox One, but they're also releasing a free expansion. This introduces a huge new land to explore, bringing the game out of the desert and into the cold, the frozen highlands in the north.
Where you can freeze to death.
And what are those elephants with the big tusks, what are those called again?
Mammoths.
Mammoths, thank you. Yeah, you'll be able to play some mammoths. And you can either play alone in single player or in co-op with friends, or on a private or public online server populated with dozens of other players.
I want to know what they're going to do with private servers and how that's going to work on the Xbone. Because as far as art goes, for private servers, if you want to have your own private server that is up and running at all times, you can either host it and play at the same time, which means the people playing with you have to stay within a certain distance, or you need literally a second Xbox that you can't play on that will just be acting as the server, which is an enormous pain in the ass. So I want to know what Conan is going to do with that. That's what's got my curiosity up, because playing on public servers is I don't have that kind of time.
And the game will be an Xbox game preview until sometime in Q1 of 2018.
So this is releasing, but it's releasing as an early access game.
Yes.
Yeah, same thing Ark did, you know. So.
Yep.
All right, let's move over to the Switch. 2 news stories left. Firmware 3.00 is out. Have you downloaded it, Corey?
I did, yeah. There wasn't that much difference, you know.
Well, there's a lot of stuff, but I don't know if it's stuff that you were looking for necessarily.
Yeah, it's nothing immediately apparent. Like, you really got to look at the notes.
Well, if you had friends on other systems now, you can go into your friends list, and there is a section that says suggested friends.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
And all your connected devices, whether it's 3DS, Wii U, etc., are all at the top in the icon, and you click on them, and you can look at all your friends from those systems, and you can add them. I guess if they have a Switch.
You do anything else?
Wouldn't do anything else.
Play with them or chat with them?
No, it's not coming for a while.
No, it can identify their Nintendo account because it can search for and buy a Nintendo account now, and it can tell if they have a Switch, and if they do, you can send them an invite. I think there's also a couple of new icons for your profile.
Yeah, you can Splatoon icons. You can receive notifications now when people come online, or you can turn it off. If you've lost your Joy-Cons, Jay, in your pile of hot meals piled on top of Bionic Commando or Psyops or whatever.
Beer bottles, Mike. Beer bottles.
Or if you've dropped one inside of a beer bottle, because that's how small they are, you can now find your controllers. There's a way that if they are within range, you can vibrate them to locate them.
Ooh, I see this being used innocuously.
Settle down.
Yes, select 6 new Splatoon characters, change system volume. For people that are colorblind, there are some new options there for how to display colors. And even if you're not colorblind, you can turn these on and play games in different settings. So if you want to see what Zelda looks like in grayscale or inverted colors, go ahead, turn that on, and fire up Breath of the Wild. You can connect a USB keyboard to it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one. That was kind of a bigger one.
Yep. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of notes there. It seems to be a pretty beefy update, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, but some stuff that people have been asking, and a big update that didn't affect me, but there was an HDMI fix where people were constantly getting notifications on their screen from their TV. That has been fixed as well.
There was also, I don't know how much it coincided, but there was also a major patch release for Snake Pass, too.
Yes, there was. I saw that. I'll have to see what that's all about. Because both of us were collectively meh on the game, but we'll see what the updates are all about.
Yeah, I think they added like leaderboards and stuff, and there's also right down to the icon. Even the icon on the your dashboard is different now, so it looks totally different. I haven't fired it up yet since, but I don't know. Maybe I will.
Is there anything in there for correcting some of the control issues you had?
I didn't look too closely into the notes because, like Mike said, I'm pretty on that game. I probably should have, because that was my major beef with the game, was how the controller worked. So.
Right, that's why I was asking. That seemed to be the issue that most people had.
You know, Sumo Digital is a huge company. They're the actual people doing the multiplayer stuff, I believe, for Forza. That's their multiplayer development team.
Mm-hmm.
So they do a lot of work. Big studio. And the last bit of news here, Corey. Sometime soon, in the future, God knows when, SNES-styled controllers coming to the Switch.
Yeah, that looks pretty fantastic. I'm definitely going to buy those right out of the gate. They're a little different though. They have joypad or joysticks, and is it just one shoulder button on each side? I know it's a little bit different. It's not a pixel perfect.
No, it's got shoulder buttons. I'm looking at the image right now. It's got the two shoulder buttons on each side: R2 and R, L2 and L.
Okay, so the only major thing is the joysticks. There might be, you can't really tell in the image, there might be sticks underneath or something, because they do need that second controller, right? If it's going to be like a Pro controller.
On this linked article, you can see pretty much all the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look, there's two controller, or there's two. There's an L and R, and then an L2 and an R2. So there are. It's very thin, but yeah, there are two different.
The way the sticks are placed right now, it's very much like a DualShock 4.
Yeah, it's a completely wireless. Super NES controller. There's going to be a lot of retro games coming out for this system, and I want more than just a Pro controller and the Joy-Cons to play it. So yeah, I'll probably pick up two of these things.
So it's by a company, 8-Bit Do. Are you familiar with them? 8-Bit Do, D-O.
No, never heard of them.
So they're calling it the SNES 30 Pro. Features Bluetooth, USB-C, rumble vibration, motion controls, and player indicator LEDs. So it looks like it's got the full functionality almost of the Pro controller, but just in a SNES wrapper.
And they also have like an NES arcade stick, apparently.
And you scroll down and see those stereo speakers too?
Oh, yeah.
What's
wow.
up with
that? That's weird. I mean, there is the Street Fighter coming to the Switch, or right. Is it already out? I'm not sure, but I mean, if they really want to get that fighting game audience, having an arcade stick is really important.
So those will be perfect stocking stuffers for you, Corey. They're supposed to come out the holiday, the SNES, and today. Everybody wants to be sad, but it is officially 6 months today till Christmas. By this time, in 6 months from now, you've already opened all your Christmas presents.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
All right, and on that note, that sour note, let's end episode 205, gentlemen. Jay, just don't go to sleep. Just go right to work.
I might.
Do it. Oh, just don't get up. What time are you going to be at work? 6?
Yeah.
Get up at 4:40. What's an hour ride?
Yeah.
Yeah, get up at 4:45, have a protein bar, and then go. Yeah. And what the hell are you getting up at 4 o'clock for? You making yourself a huge breakfast?
I got to make lunch and everything, so.
Fucking do it tonight. Buy lunch. Treat yourself tomorrow. You've earned it, Jay.
You know what, Mike? I'm going to go with your suggestion.
Grab that extra
and do
45 minutes of sleep.
Yeah,
all right.
So, done.
Shit, done. Yeah. When I say it, it's done. Fuck
he's a pushover.
Yeah. So everybody on Discord, thank you. Don't forget, you can still buy shirts. There's a bird shirt. I like the bird shirt. Yes. Leave us a review for if you listen to us on whatever you're listening. Leave a review if they allow it. We'd appreciate it. Don't forget to call the voice line 508-658-BETA.
Mm. So, anything else, Jay?
Miss Sean and Joe this week. Sorry they couldn't make it. And Jeremy. Jeremy couldn't make it this week either. So we missed him too.
He asked.
Yeah. So
I said we're going a three-man show tonight. We're feeling feisty as a trio.
There we go.
All right,
and we still managed to go long.
My article about Next Machina, whatever, that should be up on the Clickist soon. I apologize for not being up, but go read it if you have any interest.
It's not the first time you've had to do that, right?
No, definitely not the first time. And so that's going to be going up. I'm going to be starting work on a video that's going to involve alcohol and the game. Maybe I shouldn't say the game yet, but fuck it. It's called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. I don't know if anybody's heard of that game.
Yes, I want to try that.
Yes, we're gonna be making a drunken video for that soon, but I can't talk about too much of the details. So I'm not sure when it's going to actually happen. And that's about it for me for the plugs. Jay said the phone number. Hopefully we get that in the little details on iTunes, because I think that'll help us out with calls.
Excellent.
But please call us. We love hearing people talk. It's like listener comments, but we don't have to read them, so it's awesome.
Call me, baby.
So I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but besides iTunes, we are also on Stitcher, Google Play, and iHeartRadio, and we're trying to get on Spotify as well. So stay tuned. So check us out wherever you listen to your fine podcast. If you want to send in emails, you can send emails in at gamersinbeta@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at gamersinbeta, and of course the voicemails, which we've already mentioned a whole bunch. Other than that, thanks to everybody that listens. Thanks to everybody who downloads. Thanks to the people on Discord, Twitter, and everywhere else. Shout out to Joe and Sean. I look forward to having them back on, especially Joe, because this is, I believe, 3 weeks now since we've heard from Joe. I don't imagine he's had much gaming, though, in those 3 weeks. Maybe a little Zelda or other Switch action on the plane, but he's been busy in Disney or in Chicago or ripping his pants.
Hey, he's big time now, man. I'm not sure we can get him back now. He's too expensive.
And
I bet he didn't see any blue ball monkeys, though.
And, he is the creator, the artiste behind the bird shirt. Maybe someday if he plays Horizon Zero Dawn, Jay, we can make him draw a storm bird shirt. That bird is a pain in the ass, let me tell you that. But other than that, this has been 205. I don't know if I've forgotten anything, but if I have, oh well. Go listen to other podcasts out there, but make sure you listen to us, or at the very least download us and tell your friends, and leave us feedback places. I was on iTunes this week. We only have 14 reviews, guys. 14. Let's try to get that up to 20. So if you're listening, go on iTunes, give us some reviews, okay?
Please and thank you.
So take it away.
Until next time.
Blue balls.
Same beta time, same beta channel. No blue balls here. Bullshit. Quality shit.